You clicked on this link because you wanted to find out more about Aperty, and it was the perfect decision to make because I'm going to be doing a full overview and a small tutorial on each of the features that you can find in Aperty. As a brief, Aperty is a perfect tool for photographers, be it amateur and professional, that are taking pictures of people or models to be able to do things like remove dark lines under eyes, perfect the skin, even put on makeup. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. So here we are on the desktop, and we just so happen to have Aperty right in front of us. So let's enter. Now what we want to do is we want to bring in an image in order to be able to edit. Now note that, as I've mentioned before, Aperty is really focused around photography on humans. So we want to select something that is going to actually emanate that. So I've chosen a few images already that I've put in a file. So I'm just going to go there. We're going to call the project name, let's just call it Aperty Highlights, and let's continue. So we are going to open the file. We are going to add a folder. Okay, so these are the images that I've chosen. I actually chose them because I did some thumbnail edits on them and I really wanted to clear them up. So let's start off by choosing the one that we want to edit. I think that this one's the most applicable. Okay, so the first thing that we look at in order to understand Aperty and its flow is look at the top left. The first thing is the Aperty icon, in which you will have file, edit, image, view, account, window, and help. As we need it, we might go to that, but just know that they are all there. Now, the next image will be the projects. If I click on that, it's going to take me literally just to the project that we have here. So we're going to go back into it. The next thing that we're going to have is add images, which we don't need to do. Now, the first thing here is we have the eraser and clone. So eraser and clone is an easy way to be able to remove blemishes that you might have in your image. And then right next to that, we have dodge and burn. So let's start to use the eraser and clone. Now we can see there's a little bit of lint on my shirt. I'm going to click on that, and you can see how quickly they just disappear because it actually blends into the texture behind the image. So again, if you're doing photography with humans, this is really nice because you're going to be able to create a nice, clean image. Now, this also works for blemishes on the face. However, there are better tools, but we will get to that. Next, we've got dodge and burn. But you see, as soon as you open it, just like the eraser, it actually opens a little side panel here in which you can choose dodge, burn, and erase. So the ability to use dodge and burn, and if you don't know what dodge and burn is, it basically just increases the exposure of the selected area and you can adjust the intensity of that. So obviously if I do it to a large extent, I'm going to have a very white forehead, as we see there. And the more we do that, the more exposed it's going to be. Looks like I'm trying to audition for the cast of Powder. Let's undo all of that. So we can obviously take that, and if we got some areas that are underexposed, we also want to be able to take the size of this a little bit down. So it is underexposed there on my neck. So if we had to do that, it actually will start to bring that out a little bit. I might need to increase the amount to say 15, 16. If we do that, it'll start to bring out my neck a little bit more, maybe up to 30. Not really meant to be used for shadows because you should have done your lighting perfectly, which obviously I didn't, but it can help. And to see the effect, you can literally just hit the eye at the bottom right, and you can see there it's changed my neck a little bit lighter to actually get rid of that. Nothing I can do about that shadow yet. Okay, then at the top of the screen, you will actually see the information in which the image was shot. So we've got ISO at 25,600. Camera was set automatically for the purposes of how this photo was taken. We have the aperture at 6 or f6 and the shutter rate 1/1600. That information can actually be quite critical in editing the image because you actually know the exposures and so on, so that you can compensate during your edit. Now let's move over to the right, or the fun part of Aperty. The menu works from top to bottom. At the top we have presets, and right at the bottom we have undo. Now there's a reason that there's a line over here, is because if we actually open up masking for an example and we want to use something like Creative, if we click on that, it's actually going to open both at the same time. Note that not all of them work at the same time. It's because Masks complement Creative, and I'll show you how just now. But let's start off by showing you the presets and something really cool. So we have our favorites, of which I won't have any because I just opened the program. We have color, so we can literally go here by Julia Trotti, who did a fantastic job, by the way, and go and look at her video that she did from all the pictures that she took and the edits that she did. Really, really good job. But now we can say golden hour and we can adjust that. Obviously, it's going to undo the effect of the green screen. That's not a problem. We got ocean breeze. And again, we can adjust the intensity. So we've got color. Note that you can only put one of these presets on at a time. We also have creative, retouch, and external, in which you can play around with that. But these are the presets. The last thing in presets that I want to touch on is the ability to create your own. So if you've applied certain changes to any image and you actually want to save that as a template for all other images, all you'd need to do here is push plus, create the presets and call it temp or whatever you want to call it, and save. That will also have its own intensity meter in which you can do it all the way left, and if I do that all the way left, it actually won't do anything because I haven't changed, and then all the way right will apply that intensity however the image was actually preset. So this is really a cool touch, and I'll show you a preset that we do at the end on when I've actually done with the image. Another cool thing that you can do with the eraser, and yes, there are better things for it, which we're going to get to, is the ability to remove something that may have flown across the camera, or call it a big blemish in the middle of your face that you don't want the AI to take care of because it's not masking it properly or it's not picking it up properly. So for example, if we had to scroll in on my face here and we see a certain mark over there, there's a sunspot there, for example. If I actually drag up or click in there, it should actually start to take that away. You obviously want to use this very sparingly because it will start to alter the image, which you don't want, but it can be very effective. Next is masks, and it took me a little while to work out how to actually use it properly. And that's because, again, it actually utilizes the other aspects of Aperty. Now, what we want to do, or how you can actually use it, is you can put in a mask and say mask background and mask persons. Now the program is actually distinguished between what is a person and what is the background. And you can see this for yourself by hovering over the background. Now you can see it's almost perfectly taken away the entire background. You can brush and touch that up. And if we go onto the person, we can see that it's perfectly selected the person. Again, you can brush and touch this up. Now to actually show you how this works, I'm going to quickly go into creative. So if we select the person, and again, if we hover over there, we can see what it's selected. You can actually control only for that. Make sure again that you click on what you're trying to adjust, the person. And let's say that we wanted to adjust the amount of light. We can see there that all the whites are actually going a lot lighter. I've collapsed the menu now so that you can see all of them, but you can further do things like film grain, again by selecting probably the background would be best in this example, and adjusting that to 100, and we can see that it's fully grained just the background. We can adjust the size and the roughness of that background, and we can see how effective that is. It actually looks like a cool kind of marbled or warped effect. And that's it for masking, noting that masking can only work with Essentials and with creative tools. Next is Canvas, where we have crop and optics. So crop is obvious. It has the ability to change the ratio or aspect ratio so you can get it ready for different social medias. Also having the ability to have custom aspect ratio as well as free. We also have rotate and flip, which can be really useful. Next, we have optics. Now, even though masking doesn't work with optics, you can actually impact the image. For example, if I go to the background and I go into the creative tools and I go to film grain and I set it to high like I did, and then we close masking and go back to canvas, if we actually do any lens distortion, you'll see that the head starts to get impacted by that. So just note that just because the crop doesn't work with the other applications in tandem, it can still have an impact on the image. So let's remove all of those. Now, if we do lens distortion, it's not going to put any of that graining on the top of my head, even though my head now looks massive. Now, owing to time, I'm not going to be able to go through everything, but when you have the program, you'll be able to play with this till your heart's content. Next, we have the essentials, which we have develop. We have curves, which is known to many a photographer. We have color. We have the ability to convert to black and white. Sharpen, which can be really effective. We have details, then structure, and lastly in this menu, noise reduction. Next is retouch, and where we're really starting to get into the AI bones of Aperty. So we can see here, it's already identified me as an individual and male. So it's highlighted my face and identified my face. I haven't done this or preset this. And the first thing that we can see is blemish removal. Now, in order to see how this actually works, we're going to take blemish removal right to the top. Now note that my face is very exposed with light, and this image is not the most crisp on my face, so there are better examples, which I'll show you on my screen now, of just how awesome blemish removal can be. But let's go from 0 to 100. So blemish is now at 100. If we go to face and skin, we can go to silk smoothing. Note that the image is going to blur while we do this. And underneath silk smoothing, we have details. Note that details is kind of inverse, because if we go to the left, it's actually less details. So we'll look there. And if we go all the way to the right, that's actually going to be more details. So depending on what you're trying to achieve. Then to see what silk smoothing and details have actually done, let's see the preview. Now it's very subtle, but it's removed a little bit of the melasma that I actually have on my forehead and smoothed it out. So if we go towards that, and if we look at the original image, we can see that my forehead has changed quite a bit, and it smoothed out those sun kisses or melasma. Next, we have face skin color correction, and if we take that all the way to the top, what it's going to do is just smoothen your skin a little bit more, and we can see what the effect is there. It makes it a little bit more matty and less blotched. Then what we all need for us that work at night is dark circles removal. So we can see over there, I do have dark circles, and if we do that, boom, we can see how it's got rid of those dark circles. And if we take it from the back here and we go to the original image, we can see just how much work the app has already done. Lastly, we have face brighten and a shine removal. Now, if we do face brighten, that's obviously going to be a little bit too much, but we can play around with that a little bit. And shine removal, if we want to get rid of shine, especially if you were covered in product on a shoot, you have sun shearing, this can be very effective. Next, we have eyes. And one of the coolest things that I like is the ability to change your eye color. So we see that it's original, but let's go into brown and see what I would look like with brown eyes. That is scary. I look like a vampire, a vegetarian vampire, whatever Edward Cullen calls himself. Gray, honey, and mint. And I'm actually going to keep that because it kind of blends in with the green screen. Now, if you wanted to actually blend in more naturally, we can change the iris visibility a little bit down, which looks really cool. Next, we have iris flare, which will basically put a flare at the bottom of your eyes. If you take it up to max, maybe a little bit too hectic. Then we have redness removal, eye whitening, and eye enhancement, which I'm not going to do now because my eyes are white and simply this video would go on for way too long. You can just see how powerful it is already. Next, we have teeth whitening and teeth brightening, which is not going to work here, and makeup. Now, makeup is a menu all on its own, and I'm not really one that knows how to do makeup, but I guess you can play around with it. After playing around, that's what I look with makeup, knowing that in makeup you can do the cheeks or just the cheeks and nose, but yeah. Next, we have reshape in the ability to actually make your face slimmer. Again, this is something that you want to play around with incrementally, because if you take this all the way through to the end, it's going to make you look like an alien. We also have the ability to shape the eyes, the arch position and distance. Again, putting it too far ahead makes one look like a cartoon. So if you do like the shape of your eyes, play around with this sparingly. Next, we can adjust the nose bridge shape, the nose tip shape, as well as the X and Y on your nose, noting that if you take it all the way X, it's going to look like someone punched you in the face. Next, we can adjust the mouth in the lips position, upper lip and lower lip. Next is the body, in which we have the ability to shape and also adjust the abdomen. Note that my arm is crossing it out there. That's why that's automatically defaulted to 0, because even if I put that to 100, it's not going to do anything. So this would have to be a full body image for that to apply. and is really effective. Next, we have Creative in light control, which has the ability to obviously adjust the light and customize the light. Next, we have Portrait Bokeh or Bokeh.
Bokeh.
I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but in there we can adjust that. We also have the ability to choose a LUT by actually uploading a custom LUT file or choosing from the presets, adjusting the film grain as we did before, adjusting the vignette, and also the high key. And that is it. The only other buttons we have is information as well as the undo button. But that's it for the image. We can see what it looked like before and what it looked like after. Now, obviously, I've been playing around with this and I'll show you some really good examples on what you can do and what you can achieve through Aperty. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this overview and small tutorial of Aperty. If you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out in the comment section below. Or alternatively, go to the Luminar site and actually go to chat at the bottom right. And any questions you have will be answered by one of the professionals working at Aperty, or rather Luminar. Guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Cheers. See you on the next one.